I'm delighted to have with me as my guest Canadian award-winning jazz musician Holly Cole. She is a two-time Juno Award winner with a stellar music background. She is a legend, and she's here today to talk about her latest album release, Dark Moon, and her upcoming performances. And I'm just so excited for you to be here today. And congratulations on your 13th album. Is that correct?
That's correct. Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Yeah, so tell us the process. How long did it take you? How did you put 11 songs, I believe, on the album? So,
Well, this album was a little bit different because I really felt at this stage I wanted to do an album that really represented the spontaneity and the spirit of spontaneity, and which is a huge part of jazz. I also though love to arrange. So in my previous albums, I've done a lot of arranging. On this album, I didn't do a lot of arranging in advance, so we went in the studio. You could say underprepared, and we sort of experimented. And the reason I mean, you can fall flat if you do. That's a dangerous thing to do because you can fall flat. But I had the confidence to do it because on this record, I really have my dream team. And they're people that I've worked with over the years in certain increments and stuff. But on this record, I had them all together. So I thought, here's an opportunity for me to do a collection of songs, some of which I've wanted to do for years, but didn't at different stages, didn't feel like I had exactly the right group to do. So I did different songs. Well, for this album, I really, like I say, had my dream team who are coming on the road with me, by the way. And yeah, which is exciting. And we did the songs and in the studio, we like I say, I left things open. So because they're so creative and they also these people that I'm talking of, and I'll list them for you in a minute. They're really creative, but also they understand my concept of minimalism, and they played with me a bunch of times. So I was confident enough to leave space for them, for their ideas, and uh, and I'm so happy with how it turned out because what you hear on the record is the moment at which the light turns on for us, you know? You hear the moment at which I discover, or Kevin Bright, the guitarist, discovers what this song is about for him or for me. I find it exciting to hear that on a record.
yes, and your team, your dream team involved, because it takes a team. And can
Yes,
you list some of the
I
names?
certainly will. The core group was Kevin Bright on guitar, many different guitars, Aaron Davis on piano, George Kohler on bass, Davide Dorenzo on drums, and Johnny Johnson on all the woodwinds. And these people, this is going to be the touring band without a drummer though, because we want it to be a little bit more intimate for the live shows.
Yes, and like you've been on tour for how long now? Because you're coming to Vancouver soon.
Yeah. I've been on tour for many, many years. Kind of. It's like it's just see, it seems like one big tour with little things in the middle where you stay at home for a little while, but you're really just on one big tour.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, so we've been touring. We were in Japan recently. We toured there actually quite a lot. And we're hoping to go back to Europe because we used to tour in Europe a whole lot before COVID. But as you probably know, with touring, everything changed with COVID. And with the US, everything changed with that guy that we don't need to speak of,
Yes.
that leads the United States.
Yes. I mean, you've
I
been
can't, I could speak of him if you want, but why I don't want to swear on your show.
no, I was because you've been started your music career like I believe in 1989 was 4 songs. Is that correct?
That might be a good guess anyway. I'm not positive, but yes, it was definitely the late 80s.
Wow.
And that was a four-song Christmas CD. And it's so funny because uh, ever since then, people think of me as Christmas. And also my name is Holly. And
Right.
then my last name is coal, like a lump of coal in your stocking, I suppose. And so I sort of, it just happened to me. It wasn't like I really was going, I'm dying to be associated with Christmas. I honestly, I have my feelings about Christmas are passionate, but in both directions. And And I think that's why my Christmas shows and Christmas albums have become so popular, is because I think a lot of people feel that way. They love Christmas on the one hand because family comes together and it's a celebration, and everything sto in this part of the world anyway, everything stops for Christmas.
Mhm.
And that's great because otherwise we wouldn't stop. And but on the other hand, there's a lot of pressure and it's a very commercial cash grab kind of thing. And it's difficult for people to afford kind of. But anyway, and my the songs in my Christmas shows and on the Christmas album reflect this because I like to poke a stick at Christmas a little bit. And I got to say this much, it takes a lot of my energy to make Santa Claus seem sexy.
No, I mean, you like you were saying, you've always been touring, and but
Okay.
I like to go back if I may. So there are 11 songs, right? And on tour, you're going to be performing those songs, right?
Yep.
Any other songs that you can share?
Oh, sure. Well, we'll be doing songs. It's a cross section of songs. I mean, it I wouldn't just really do an album stem to stern, because I think it makes what sounds great on an album is different than what sounds great in a live show. And also, I really have a strong connection with the audience live. It's the reason why I got into music was not to make records. I love making records now, but it's a new challenge. My passion and my dream. Well, I'll tell you, my dream was this, to be someday singing live with some of the best musicians in the world. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So I have to say I'm pretty happy about that. But we'll be doing yeah, a cross section of songs, a bunch of stuff from Dark Moon, but also favorites that people come to hear and like to hear me sing. So
Yes, like I've listened to, some of your songs, and I like Where Flamingos Fly, The Velvet.
oh yeah. I
I,
love it too. I love it too. I found that song. I had never heard that song before. And I found that song because I love the Ink Spots, the band The Ink Spots from a long time ago. And I heard them singing it and I thought, what's that song? And I said, we got to do it. So we'll be
Mhm.
playing that. We'll be playing that for sure.
Yes, and I believe I understand that you were three or four, and then you were sick, and then you've been so interested in, like, the moon is your muse, I believe.
Yes.
So tell our viewers about that. How did that come about? In case someone
Well,
doesn't know.
sure. Yeah, I mean it's this is one of the earliest memories I have in my life. And which this is I think what started my whole obsession with the moon and it becoming a muse for me. When I was about 3 or 4 maybe, and I was living in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and I woke up in the night and I had the croup, which is a thing that kids get. It's a terrible cough, and like little children only get it. And I woke up in the night with the croup, and it was around 3 or 4 in the morning. Both my parents got up and my mom crushed up. I remember it so vividly, and it was a long time ago. My mom crushed up an aspirin into some canned peaches, which I loved, and I ate them. And then my dad wrapped me in a bunch of blankets and put me on his shoulders, and we went outside. And we walked out the front door, and I went, "Oh my God." I had no idea. I had no idea. And there was nobody there, and it was pitch black except for the moon, which was illuminating everything. Now, this moon was a mystery to me because I'd never seen it before because you can't see it in the daytime. And and I was like, "What's that? That's like the light of all lights. Oh my God." And what a mystery it was that it could illuminate everything and then be invisible in the daytime. What's that about? But anyway, I was very impressed by that, and I also though was so enamored and taken and bewitched by the nighttime and by the fact that in the day, all I've ever seen is day when my friends are there and they're playing, there's cars going by and whatever things that people are mowing their lawns and stuff, and now it was like just me and my dad. And the sea air of Nova Scotia of like was clearing my lungs up and my I could just hear the sound of my dad's feet going blip, blip, blip down the street and the moon lighting everything up, semi, and no one there. And I just remember going back in the house and thinking, I have got the best secret there is. You know? And so from that day forward, I think that's what makes me so enamored with the night and the moon.
Yeah, it's like it draws you that connection. It gives you
Sure.
that.
Yes, absolutely. I think about it. You're absolutely right. Childhood memories like that is so strong for me, and also it made me well. It actually made me well, and so every bit of it is so part of my core. That, and I love that too.
Oh, no, thank you for sharing. I'm curious to know, I mean, there's so many genres out there, but why did you choose jazz? Like, how did that come about?
Well, I'll tell you. I can tell you, and it's kind of an interesting story too. Um, I grew up with classical parents. Both my parents were classical musicians, and we studied classical piano and mostly we listened to classical music in the home. But I wasn't I didn't want to become it didn't inspire me to become a singer, for instance. Um, and when I was 15, now this is not I did this, but I'm not endorsing it, okay? But anyway, when I was 15, I hitchhiked from New Brunswick, where we lived, to Boston where my brother was studying jazz piano, my older brother, Alan Cole. Anyway, my parents were not very happy about that, and I probably shouldn't have done it, but I did. And when I got there, I didn't go there to learn about jazz or listen to jazz. And that's what he was studying at Berklee College of Music. But when I got there, I was so blown away by the music, by the culture, and by the commitment that these people had to the music that were young people, it shook me up. I pulled the rug right out from under me, and I wanted to pursue jazz. And I think the reason why it affected me so much was that all these years of listening to classical music, which by the way, I really love, but I didn't love it so much at 15. But anyway, um, all these years of listening to classical music really educated my ears. My parents were educating my ears, and they probably would have wished that I would become a classical musician. But anyway, um, and so all the complexity and the warmth and intensity that is in classical music is also in jazz. But jazz music to me seemed like the kind of music for people who were bad. And so that's what I think that attracted me. That there's a subversive nature to it. And also a couple of other things too, not just that, but that was big. But also uh, there's really the spirit of once again spontaneity, improvisation, and that really attracted me as well as I saw it as a really like a vehicle in a way where you could make a very personal statement. And that all those things just kind of blindsided me in a good way. And I feel fortunate now because I was able to discover what I feel passionate about, what I wanted to study, what I love, what I am committed to when I was only 15. And
Wow,
that's really a golden thing.
15 years old, and yeah, that's just like it was a calling. It feels.
Absolutely. I was wandering aimlessly like most 15-year-olds. And 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 most of the time you don't happen upon it so easily as I did. So I feel like I say I feel fortunate about that.
And then you are giving, you have your gift and you love performing live, as you said. And is there like a favorite? I know the Montreal Jazz Festival, but can you share a favorite place you like to perform, or like Tokyo, or they're all different in different ways? Like,
Well, they all are different in different ways. And also my career's at a different level everywhere. So in some places I'm playing huge places, and some places I'm playing little clubs and stuff. But the thing is and they all have things about them that are attractive. And also I got to say this, every different place we go, like whether it's Europe or Asia or North America or whatever, everyone likes different aspects of my career and wants me to sing different things, which keeps it very interesting for me because I haven't released a record I don't like. So I don't I'm happy to go to Germany and do all Tom Waits, or do I Can See Clearly Now in Canada, or wherever, whatever the place is, that whatever they like to hear. And but I'll tell you this much, here's one thing that stays the same no matter where I go. And that's, I call it the face. And what it is when I go out on stage, whether it's a little smoky club well, they're not smoking anymore. Okay. Whether it's a little vapey club or or it's a or it's a great huge hall. There's something called the face, and it occurs to me within the first two, maybe three songs. And what that is it's a face that comes to my mind. It doesn't have a gender, it doesn't have a race, it doesn't have an age, but it has a personality.
Mhm.
And that's some people like the intense stuff. Some people like really love the sad stuff. Some people really love the up-tempo jazz stuff. Some people lo love the humor, you know. And I get that face in my mind within the first two to three songs, and that impacts my performance a lot because it really is. I love performing live, and it really is give and take, you know,
Yeah,
from the audience.
the connection, right?
Yes.
Oh, no, that's wonderful. But how would you describe your music?
It's eclectic. It's a cross section of different genres of music. Um, it really it's infuses. I really have respect for tradition in music and the craft of music, but I love to interject if it's an old song, old tradition. I really enjoy superimposing and interjecting modern uh, influences on it in such a way that they exist, that they can coexist together harmoniously.
Mhm.
And and that can be a tall order at times, but it's that's what I love to do.
Yes, and can you tell us your how you evolved the music? Because you've been performing for many years, like, and congratulations as well.
Thank you.
So how has your music evolved? Like, there's artificial intelligence, there's social media, there's like different ways of it's hard to keep up. I mean,
Yes, it is. And the music industry evolves quite quickly too. Yeah. Well, it's, I mean, you go through phases of your life and that's reflected in the albums really.
Hmm.
And certain phases I veered off into sort of pop, kind of more pop land and a little bit more electric. And then I went back and there was country thing and then Tom Waits and stuff. I mean, it just flows naturally for me. And luckily, in my career, I have been able to make my own choices, and I not everyone gets to do that, and that's something I also feel fortunate about, you know.
Yes. And also I wanted to um the feedback. I mean, do you have like feels like I love your music and
So, thank you.
yeah, so that's the feedback must be great when you go from now you're going to be performing at the Vogue Theater in Vancouver, September 15th, I believe. I mean, and yeah, so what does it feel like when people are giving feedback to you?
Oh, I love it. I love it because well, I mean, I don't love bad feedback, but I don't think anyone does. But I love hearing from fans and I love hearing from people because um well, it's once again it's give and take. And about the Vogue, by the way, we've played there a bunch of times and I adore it. And I remember the first time we played there and I went, where did this place come from? I really enjoy playing at that theater. And it just you walk and it just feels like history, and I love that.
Yes, and um, I was going to ask you to, I'm going to ask you for our audience some of the highlights in your career. Can you share?
Sure. Um, One highlight of my career is, in terms of awards, one highlight of the award that I love the most is the Ella Fitzgerald Award that I got in Montreal at the Montreal Jazz Festival. That's like that because many other awards are about sales and stuff, which, you know, it's great to have sales, but I love that award because it's an award for singing, you know. And but there's so many highlights. I mean, one thing that I think about a lot is this little gig I did in Toronto many years ago at a place called the Cameron House, which is on Queen Street West, which I also, if you know about the Queen Street West sort of history, that's something I was a big part of, and I feel really fortunate because it was such a group of interesting, diverse, disparate types of music and wonderful artists that were all there in that time, and I was in it. But anyway, I was going to say this specific gig at this little place called the Cameron House, which was the core of Queen Street West. And it was one of my first gigs ever. And but it was my first gig as my trio. So that was important. And I went in and there was probably, I mean, you could only fit 150 people there, maybe, maybe not that many. And anyway, I sang and everyone liked it. And and that's to me, that was like validation. And I went, okay, it is good, isn't it? And I felt so happy. And just because it was the first gig of my own band, not I'd done other gigs like with other people's bands and people liked it and stuff, but that didn't mean as much to me, I should say, as this where my concept here was happening and everyone was liking it and it gave me confidence to go on with the rest of my career, really. And that's why that's a highlight. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. And what do you want people to take away from your music?
Well, here's what I want. I'm hopelessly devoted to subtext in songs, and and I like to with subtext you can only imply it. You can't state it, or it's the text. You know, that's being stated as the text. But I like to imply things that ways that I'm feeling about the song and what it's about. And it can be a darker thing, it can be a sexy thing, it can be a funny thing, it can be any number of things. But with with me doing that with the audience, I'm hoping, if I'm doing my job right, that it's opening a door for them to find their own subtext. And
Mhm.
that's what really moves people is their own subtext, really, in the end.
Yes. And tell us about your first single, No Moon at All.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Love
I'll
it.
tell you about that song. I, I love the songs that I picked that are about the moon on this record. Are about the moon in an unconventional way. Um, and the moon, generally speaking, in songwriting, is about romance, about trying to entice people to fall in love or to kiss or something like this. Well, No Moon at All is not about that. No Moon at All is about two people that want to have sex, but they don't want the moon there because they want it to be dark.
Mm.
I love that. I love that as a subject for a song. Quite unique.
Where do you get your inspiration?
Oh boy. Um, I mean, so many Nina Simone, Stevie Wonder, Sarah Vaughan, Ella Fitzgerald, Betty Carter. Um, I mean, there's it's I hate to list people because I there's so many that have influenced me that I don't want to leave the people left out.
Mhm.
Tom Waits.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, and so people like to reach out to you and go to your concert. Where can they go?
T to go to my concert?
Yes, and to go to your website or
Oh, go to my website. Yes, of course, www.hollycole.com. That's where you'll find it. And the tour coming up is all west coast of Canada. So, and we haven't been there for a while, so I'm excited about it.
yay.